Today, we're making a simple traditional side, buttery pan-toasted corn. When it's all done, it's going to be soft and just lightly golden. And this right here is what we're aiming for. See that perfect mix of bright yellow and toasty brown? That's the goal. So let's get started. Okay, let's talk about what we're making. This is an incredibly simple dish, so, the prep is just as easy. You're only going to need 3 things. 2 cups of corn kernels, and fresh or frozen both work just fine, 1 tablespoon of butter, and just a little bit of salt. And for tools, it doesn't get any easier. All you'll need is 1 single skillet.
All right, with everything ready to go, let's get right into the cooking method. We're going to walk through this step by step.
First things first, get your skillet on the stove and set the heat to medium-high. We really want that pan to get nice and hot before anything goes in.
And here's step 1. Add that tablespoon of butter to your hot skillet. Right now, your only job is to just let it melt down completely.
This is the visual cue you're looking for. The butter is totally melted, it's shimmering, maybe bubbling a little bit. There are no solid parts left. This is correct. The second that butter looks right, you're ready for step 2. Go ahead and add your 2 cups of corn kernels right into the pan. Okay, now you're going to give the corn an initial stir. The whole point of this is to make sure every single kernel gets a nice coating of that melted butter. It's what helps it all brown up so evenly. Now, before we go any further, I want to talk about a really common mistake. It's so tempting to keep stirring, right? But that actually stops the corn from toasting. It cools the pan down. So for this next part, you have to resist that urge. Which brings us to probably the most important part, step 3. You're just going to leave it alone. Let the corn cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, completely undisturbed. That direct contact with the hot pan is what creates those wonderful toasty spots. After a couple of minutes, I want you to look really closely. You're looking for this exact sign right here, the very first light golden brown spots appearing on some of the kernels. That's your signal that it's time to move. And now we stir. Step 4 is all about this simple rhythm. You give the corn 1 gentle turn, just enough to expose some new kernels to the pan, and then you let it rest again for another minute or 2. So the whole cooking timeline is really simple. At 0 minutes, you add the corn. Around the 3-minute mark, you give it that first stir. And then, by about 6 minutes total, you should be done. It's just a pattern of rest, stir, rest. Okay, let's get to the final check. How do you know for sure when it's perfectly ready? So after about 6 minutes of cooking and stirring just a couple of times, you're going to ask yourself, is it ready? And here's exactly what to look for. On the left, that's what's correct. You see a great mix of bright yellow and those golden brown toasted spots. Now, if your corn looks more like the image on the right, still pretty pale, no brown spots, it just needs a little more time alone in the pan. Now let's talk about the final texture. The kernels themselves will be soft and cooked through, but those little toasted parts, they add this really nice, gentle chew to it. At this point, you're ready. You can add your salt, give it a final toss, and take it off the heat. See that steam? It's perfect and ready to be served warm. And there you have it. The corn is sweet, it's buttery, and it's perfectly toasted. This is correct. If there's one thing to remember from all this, it's that for that perfect browning, a little bit of patience is your most important ingredient.